Now I really do feel like this is a perfect shirt for today's content because today we are going to be working on the dirt bike. Now if you haven't checked out the dirt bike content yet, this is a 2010 CRF250R 4-stroke. And I have quite the love-hate relationship with it, to be honest. Now a little backstory on the bike. I bought it 3 or 4 years ago, all the way back up by my school, through a friend who found a guy on Craigslist. So I didn't know the guy, I never talked to the guy until the day I went and bought it. A year or two ago, so a few years after I bought it, top end went out, had to be rebuilt, and I heard from the technician that rebuilt it that it looks like the previous owner had ported the engine. So this is where a lot of my problems and hatred for this bike are coming from. Now don't get me wrong, I'm all for modifying vehicles, as you can tell from the channel, all the different vehicles we got going on here, but I do have a problem with vehicles that I didn't modify because I don't know anything about it or what's been done to it. Like I said, I don't know the previous owner at all, I don't have his contact information, and it's been over 3 years. So the only knowledge I have on this bike is what the technician told me, and I'm hoping he's good at his job and he knows what he's talking about. So all I know right now about the engine is that it looks like it's ported, which could cause some problems because, well, let's just talk about what we're doing today. So one of the problems I've been having in the desert is, well, a year or two ago, I think I actually posted a video trying to fix this problem, is I got something done to the bike. I think it was a new clutch, and we took it out to the desert for the first trip and it wouldn't turn over, it wouldn't start. So that was kind of a bummer to make it all the way out to the desert and not be able to ride for the weekend. And when we got back, we tried diagnosing the problem and said, you know what, it's a used bike that we got from somebody, we don't know what's been done to it recently, so let's start with the spark plug. So we went out, bought the spark plug, got back home, kicked it 2 or 3 times, it turns over. So okay, whatever, we didn't put the spark plug in. This is that spark plug. So more recently, I've had a few trips between that video and now. The bike turns over fine, but within the last trip, it turns over fine toward the beginning of the day, and throughout riding it all day, toward the end of the day, it won't turn over. We got stuck 20 or 30 minutes away from camp because my bike wouldn't turn over after I turned it off for some reason. So last night I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking, you know what, let's try to figure out this problem with the bike. I start doing research. So there are essentially 4 things you gotta check if your bike's not turning over: air, fuel, compression, and spark. So I thought, you know what, I bought the spark plug, a year or 2 ago. It's been sitting ever since. I haven't used it, so why not start there and try and see if that fixes the problem. So today we are going to be throwing in a new spark plug and seeing if that will help the starting. So I've honestly only changed the spark plug one other time, and that was on Garrett's old bike, his YZ250F. So we'll see how this goes, but it seems pretty straightforward. You just gotta get the seat off, get the gas tank off, and it should be right there. Super simple to get the seat off. You just need a 10mm socket right here on both sides. That's it, slide it right off. Part of me is honestly very skeptical that this will actually fix the problem. I mean, it might help the bike run better, but I mean, we'll check the spark plug when we take it out and see if there's any signs of problems, but I feel like there's some other problem that maybe you guys can help me with in the comment section of why it would run all day, but throughout the day it gets harder and harder to start to the point where it just won't start. Anyways, let's carry on with this. Again, another problem with this being some other person's used bike and not knowing much about the history of it. I don't know if these bolt sizes that I'm giving you are the right ones, but I just use an 8mm to get these 4 off on each side of the gas tank. So, I mean, hopefully it's 8mm for you guys too. I might have run into a very weird problem. I'm gonna call Garrett real quick and try to figure this out. Okay, I figured out the potential problem that I was gonna run into. So once you get the 2 bolts on each side off the gas tank, there's one more bolt you gotta do, which is up top here. Now, like I said, when I bought the bike, he's had this digital gauge on it the whole time, and this was covering that bolt, and I was like, oh my God, how am I supposed to get to it? And I could have swore, well, there's 2 little bolts that go through the sides here, and I could have swore that I've taken those off before and they didn't remove it, but I must be thinking of Garrett's bike or something. Anyways, I got those off and it exposed the bolt, so we're fine, we're back on track. We're just gonna get that out and then figure out how to get this tank off. Alright, again, I don't know if this is going to be the same for your guys' bikes, but this just used a Phillips head screwdriver. I don't know if that's just there to fit the gauge or if that's actually how it comes, so I mean, I guess it all depends on your bike. Now this is where the mess might occur. I can't see where the hose kind of leads from the bottom of this to the bike, so I'm going to have to pull this out, try to find the hose, take it out, not dump gas everywhere, and get this tank off. Okay, so remember when I said the only other time I've done a spark plug was on Garrett's old dirt bike? Well, that was carbureted, not fuel injected, so I'm not used to everything that's going on the bottom side of this fuel tank, so I'm going to try to do a little more research, see if I can figure out how to get all that off safely. And if not, I might just move the tank back as far as it can go with everything still hooked up and work on it, which doesn't sound the safest considering I'm working with sparks with a gas tank right above it, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so I got it figured out now. Not as much going on down there as I thought. I took the shroud off for extra visual and clearance and everything. Made it a little bit easier. But basically we have the fuel line and a wiring harness. So I'm gonna undo this metal clasp right here holding on the wiring harness, unplug the harness, and then pull the tube that feeds the gas to the bike off and try not to make a mess, and then we should have the whole tank off. Okay, now that we have the metal clamp holding this wiring harness off, we can just, I have no idea what that was, unplug it. Oh! And now all we have to do is just pull the fuel line itself and not dump gas everywhere. Okay, I may have spilled a little gas on me, but it's okay, we found out how to get it. So there's a cover that goes over this plug and then a rubber boot that goes over that cover. So I got all that off and now we're just gonna try to unplug it from here and pull it off. Oh, okay. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Not as much gas as I thought. I actually spilled more gas tipping that and having it come out the top hose than I did actually unplugging it, so. Okay, so we have the harness disconnected out of the way. We got the fuel line disconnected, sort of out of the way. Now all we gotta do is just get down right in here and we're good. Alright, spark plug is in sight. There we go. God. So once you get the gas tank off, you're gonna have this rubber boot over it. You pull that out, get it out of the way, then your spark plug's just gonna be straight down in that hole. I don't know if it's absolutely necessary to have, but spark plug socket I think is probably one of the most helpful things that you're gonna have when doing this. Now comes the very fun and interesting part. We get to diagnose kind of what's going on in the bike by looking at the head of the spark plug here. Now, like I said, last night I was doing a bunch of research and looking at videos and everything about spark plugs, and one video that I found super helpful and super informative in spark plugs all around, from diagnosing to changing to what you need, was Rocky Mountain ATV Spark Plug 101. So I'm going to throw that up in the card in the top corner, and go check that out if you guys are trying to replace spark plugs, learn more about them, because it was super in-depth, and I'm going to be using that as a reference to diagnose what is wrong with mine. So I brought it outside for a little bit better visual, a little more light, and it looks like, based off the video, they say that this spark plug is fouling. You can tell by the dark head and kind of like corrosive type look, and fouling means that it's too rich of an air to fuel ratio. It also could be from poor combustion, poor compression. It's more of like a rusty looking color, so it might not even be fouling. But like I said earlier, the engineer that looked at the bike said that it did look like it was ported and that the air to fuel ratio is not correct, so that could be leading to this problem. So it looks like it's carbon fouling. Long story short, glad we got it out and glad we're throwing in the new one, because this one definitely looks shot and like it needs to be replaced. So now we're going to be switching over to the new spark plug. Now, this is where more of the problems might occur, given that this engine could possibly be ported. So this big bold line of numbers and letters right here, all these numbers and letters have a meaning. If you go onto whatever brand spark plug you're buying, on their website they'll have a chart that tells you what each number and letter means. Now, one of these numbers tells the heat rating of the spark plug. Now, an 8 for NGK is mid-level, right between hot and cold, and I believe that's normal. I'm gonna have to check the owner's manual for the bike and see what they recommend it be, but this is where the problem occurs. They say that if the engine is modified to take a higher octane gas, which mine is, not by a lot, so it shouldn't be a problem, but it does take a little bit higher octane gas, you should be modifying the heat rating of your spark plug. Now, again, I don't know what's been done to the bike, so I don't know what heat rating I need. I don't know very much at all. So I just picked up kind of the base level, basic spark plug rating, and hopefully this will do the job for now until I can kind of get more knowledge on this. Again, the gapping, it depends on kind of what the owner manual says, but since this is modified, I don't know what the gapping should be at. But then again, I heard that these kinds of spark plugs shouldn't even have the gapping messed with. So I don't have to worry about gapping today. I'm just gonna throw this in and hopefully it'll work perfectly fine for what I'm doing. So again, guys, my knowledge on all of this stuff that goes super into detail and super scientific is very limited. So go check out their video if you want to know more in depth, better explained and everything. But for now, let's just throw in the new spark plug and see if it can get this thing running top notch again. All right, we're in the final stretch here. We got the new spark plug in. We're gonna throw this rubber boot back on over it. And now we're just gonna have to reassemble everything, get the fuel tank on, shrouds on, plastics on, seat on, everything. All right, so we're just reversing everything we've already done. We plugged back in the fuel pump, got the bracket reattached, and we got the fuel line reattached as well. So now we're just gonna drop the tank back in place and reattach everything. Something about reassembling it all seemed way too easy, like I might have missed something, but I don't know what I would have missed. I have no extra bolts laying around or anything, so I guess we just try to start it up and see how it runs, see how it starts and everything, and see if that was the problem. Well, actually, I don't think we'll be able to tell if that's the problem today, because I want to take it to the desert and recreate what happened last time, where I ride it all day long and see if it still starts perfectly fine at the end of the day, because it was still starting fine at the beginning of the day. It's really after riding it all day is when the problem started. So we'll still start it up, see how it looks and everything, and then I guess you guys will see a part 2 video of me checking one of the other 4 things to check if your bike's not starting if this didn't work. Brochure, pamphlets there. And that paper stuffing. Okay, I don't know if there's like a little break-in period, like you saw it didn't start like right away. It took actually quite a few kicks to get it started. I don't know if that's like a little break-in thing or if the problem's not fixed, but I just rode it around real quick. So I'm gonna let it sit real quick and then try to restart it up again, see if it starts right up, or if I need to check out the other options. Well, it seems to be starting pretty quick now, you know, like 1 to 3 kicks. That's pretty good, but it also is warmed up. Another thing that I have to factor in is the fact that I don't ride this as much as I'd like to, so it really does have a lot of downtime in the garage where stuff's just not flowing through it. So that could also be a contributing factor, but like I said, I won't know if this problem's fixed until I take it out to the desert and get a full day of riding it and then try to start it up. So with that being said, I guess this concludes this video for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like the video, leave a like, leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And stick around for more videos, guys. I'm going to be posting every other week, so stay tuned for that and subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.